feel like I just want to fold my arms, sit down somewhere and just moan. But then when I began to take inventory over my life, when I turn around and look back over my life, I can see all the hills, I can see all the mountains, I can see all the valleys. God has already brought me over, and I makes me know.
Honey, I can hear on everything.
a little tent, oh, just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change don't come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. So I don't know whether there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. One more thing. I go to the movie and I go downtown. I keep hearing them say, boy, I don't want you to hang around now. It's been a long time coming, but I know, hallelujah, a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Let me just say this. Then I go to my brother. Yes, sir. And I say, brother, help me, please. Oh, yes, sir. But he winds up knocking me back down on my couldn't last too long. But now I think I'm able to carry on. I know it's been a long, oh yeah, a long time coming, but the change don't come. Oh, yes it will. Let me just say one more time. La 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 Can't nobody do me like Jesus, because he's my friend. I I repeat, can't nobody do me like Jesus. Hey, nobody do me like the Lord, Lord, do me like the Lord. Can't nobody do me like Jesus, do me like Jesus. He's my friend, yes he is. Let me tell you what he did for me. I said he healed my body, and then he told me to run home. I said he healed my body, and he told me to run home. I said he healed my body, and he told me to run home. Go tell the world he's mine. I said can't nobody do me like Jesus. Do me like Jesus. Never. Nobody can do me like the Lord. Can't nobody can do me like Jesus. He's my friend. Come on, let it. Okay. Yes. I'm doing it now. Hello, everyone. I apologize that the system actually went into an update just before we got started. And as a result, we had to, of course, wait for it to get established and set up. So if you give me one more moment, we should be getting started. Not even a minute, just a few seconds. Let me run and grab one more thing. Can everybody hear me on the live? Okay. And everybody can hear me on Zoom. Okay. So once again, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Give me one moment and I will be right back. Should be less than 1 minute, and then we will get started right away.
Good. Connected.
Can't nobody do me like Jesus. Ain't nobody do me like the Lord. I said, nobody can do me like Jesus. He's my friend. I'll tell you one more time. He said, heal my body. Then he told me to run on. When I was sick, doctor said I wouldn't feel better than him. I said, heal my body. Look at me now. He told me to run on. Let me hear you. How you feel? Jesus, just as I was. Oh, I was weary. I was worn. Oh, so sad. Oh, I speak of resting days. Something on it he had made me glad. Ain't nobody do me like Jesus. Can't nobody do me like the Lord. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. Okay. Okay. I know y'all was over there clapping and getting a little happy. Once again, we want to thank you all for joining in with us this evening. And we appreciate those of you who actually came in at 6 o'clock. I want to once again apologize that our system went into an update. And well, we're now going to go ahead and get started. With that said, I'll pull everything up. At this time, we should all have a pretty clear understanding of where we are and what's been going on. Here we are. Again, just dealing with this. Update. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start. And if you will, let us take a moment so that we can give thanks and pray, and then go ahead and open up our meeting. Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts. We're thanking you for the opportunity to come together that we might pursue truth as well as healing. We want to thank you for giving us this day and allowing us to see another day that was not promised to us. We want to thank you for allowing us to be found with the use and activity of our limbs, being clothed in our right mind. We thank you for the love that you've had and shared towards us so profoundly that you gave your only begotten Son. We thank him for his love. Thank you, Father, for the love that you've had in allowing us to get to know his teachings. We thank him for sending out others to teach those things that he instilled in them. We thank you, Jesus, because you didn't have to do what you did, but we're grateful and we're glad that you did, because if it wasn't for you, we would not be here in this hour. I want to say thank you, Father, for putting it in the hearts and the minds of all of the individuals who have made their way thus far this meeting. For those who are on their way and have yet to make it, we ask and we pray that you keep them from all hurt, harm, as well as danger. Allow them to make it across their threshold safe and sound, that they too can join in with us as we embark upon this journey and bringing our minds and our hearts together to go over any issues, some of the problems that we've had within this organization, that we might iron out any wrinkles, that we might fix these situations, that we might get ourselves back on track and align ourselves with you and your will. Lord, we ask that you will keep us in unity and in harmony. Keep us from offending one another. Help us that we may maintain our cause and stay on track for the purposes of unifying one another, bringing us all together that we might end up on the same page, giving us understanding and knowledge and wisdom as we address these issues going forward. Lord, we ask that you will continue to look down and bless our leaders. Have mercy upon them. And we pray that you will also open up their hearts and their minds to begin to consider, if not already receiving, the desire to do your will, to turn to you as well as we, that we might repent for any and all things that we have done against you in transgression and trespasses of your commandments and your teachings. Lord, we pray these and all other blessings and prayers, your name and the name of your Son, Jesus, we pray, not our will, but thy will be done. Amen, amen, amen. Due to the fact that we did have this technical issue, I'm going to actually jump right on in here and go straight to what I was going to do first and foremost. So instead of reading through some of the issues that we've already covered. I'm just going to share with everyone that is on at the moment. I'm going to share with everyone what it is that we have and what we have put out in the videos. First and foremost, we have the necessities of a trial. One second. The necessities of a trial. And the purpose of this was for us all to understand. When I sent this out last year, I wonder if everybody can see this. When I sent this out last year, the purpose of this was so that everybody would be able to see and read for yourself what we've already tried to do. And we sent out a follow up, and these are several pages, front and back, explaining in full detail what it is that we were trying to do with the leaders of the organization. This was the second packet that had went out. And then when it comes to the proposal, this is what we sent in the form of the proposal. Okay, let me adjust this to make sure you all can see it. Okay, and I'm showing you all this so that you understand what it is, once again, that we've covered already. And this is a letter that shows, make sure, it shows that they received it, and it shows that they are not going to allow this proposal to go forward into the General Assembly, or I'm sorry, to the members of the congregations. This is our protocol. However, they did not follow our protocols. This is the General Assembly notice and the program for that year. And so, again, we have all of the documentation and everything to support what it is that they were supposed to do and what it is that they did not do. After all of those things, bringing you up and to speed, there was a letter of compliance that went out March 3rd, 2025 to the General Assembly Secretary. Okay. And this was to notify him of the charges against Bishop A.D. Cunningham. This is a violations notice of the violations that were committed by Bishop A.D. Cunningham. Okay. And you will note there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages here. And there is a notice that went to Bishop A.D. Cunningham. Okay. Now, all of this is important.
Did he show it to the Zoom?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. all of this is important so that we understand that we've been following all protocols. This is just a little track record for myself that I took and just jotted down numbers just to show right off the bat how many violations that have been committed just off of these few sheets. With that in mind, I didn't take the time to count how many violations there are because they're so numerous. Now, let me cover the Constitution. For those of you who are not aware, in the Constitution, this little booklet here, this is the booklet that is supposed to govern the organization. Now, within this booklet, there were changes made and amendments. Again, I'm just taking a moment to go over this real quickly. I'll be done with this part, maybe another 4 minutes or so. But this, in the Constitution, in the back, it has information that determines who changed the Constitution. Okay? It has in here Constitution and bylaws of the United House of Prayer for all people of the Church on the rock of the apostolic faith, as revised and approved by the General Assembly, May 22nd, 2009. I informed Mr. Cunningham that this information is a lie. This information is not true. There's quite a bit of information in this Constitution that is not true, along with other pieces of publications and information that's found in it. Now, the reason why this is not true is because these amendments were not revised and approved by our General Assembly. This writing was put here to make it look like the General Assembly actually approved and revised this information. But you notice it was signed by the Honorable C.M. Bailey, Bishop and leader at the time, and signed by Apostle A.D. Cunningham, General Assembly Secretary, 2009. So with that said, we have two other constitutions, and there's another constitution. However, all of these constitutions do not have the same information in them. It is important for us to understand that this information is necessary for all of us to grasp. Why? Because this information is the only information that anybody in a court will look at and consider to make sure that the members are compliant with our own rules, laws, and procedures. Now, with all of that said, I'm going to read a few things that will determine for us what violations has been committed and how those violations will be seen inside of a court of law. Bear with me, it's a bit extensive. We know that in our organization, we utilize the title Chief Executive Officer. This is the same title that is utilized by bishops. according to the laws of the land. When a CEO of a nonprofit works to cover up violations of the organization's constitution, their bylaws, or governing documents, they may be breaking civil laws, fiduciary duties, and potentially committing fraud or other misconduct, depending on the situation. Now, it says may because the situation is not upfront in the face of the law. So it has to be there because, of course, it's applying the possibility of the events becoming a violation. However, we know that these things have been done. Therefore, these things are actual violations of law. The exact laws and consequences can and do vary by jurisdiction. But here's a general breakdown of what laws might be involved and what consequences could result. Now, let me say this before we go any further. We know that there's individuals throughout the organization that say, well, everything is fine, I'm fine, we're all fine, and we wonder if this is even necessary. The opportunity has been extended to everyone to be in these meetings so that we all would have an opportunity to share whatever insight, whatever rebuttal, whatever questions that we have. But more importantly, so that you would know what it is, not only that's taking place, but what it is that may be coming right around the corner. So pay attention so that you can easily grasp all of these things that individuals will be facing in just a little bit more time. The first one starts with breach of fiduciary duties. Now, you heard about this when we talked about the General Assembly Secretary. Okay. Nonprofit leaders, like CEOs, board members even, officers. This includes the General Assembly Secretary, who is the chairman of the board. This includes the General Counsel that we talked about in the last meeting. All of them have fiduciary duties to the organization. They include a duty of care, acting with reasonable diligence and good judgment, a duty of loyalty, putting the organization's interest above personal gain, and a duty of obedience, following the mission and governing documents, i.e. the Constitution or the bylaws. Now, here's your situation. Some of us have heard that term before, but here's your problem. Whenever we see the words breach of fiduciary duty, okay, that is one single charge. That charge can be applied each and every single time there was a breach. In other words, if a person, they commit a crime against a group of people at one time. Let's say that there's 10 people in this group and they commit the same crime to all of them. When they get taken in, they're not going to be charged with one crime. They're going to be charged with that one crime multiplied by 10 different people. Each time this happens, it is another count of another crime, that another law that's been violated. So you're going to hear breach of fiduciary duty over and over and over again. There may be multiple counts of the same charge. Now, why is that necessary for us to understand? Because if there's multiple counts of the same charge, the same violation, then that means there's going to be a compounding of the penalties. If the penalty is that you can get, a $5,000 fine, well, now that penalty is multiplied by the number of times you violated that law and committed that crime. And if it's been proven that it's 10 times, well, then 5,000 times 10 is 50,000. But this is going to equal time as well as restitution or money. So understand, when you hear these things, it's another count. So I'm not going to take the time to just talk through and read the same charges over and over again. I'm just going to make sure that you understand each charge. The consequences for covering up constitutional violations, ignoring required board votes, hiding financial misuse, altering minutes. All of these is a breach of these duties. Now, you violated the duty of care, the duty of loyalty, and the duty of obedience. All of these things we know has been done. Ignoring the required board votes has been done. Hiding financial misuse has been done. Altering minutes has been done. So as we go forward, the consequences are civil lawsuits. Board members can file civil lawsuits. State attorney generals may be involved and file charges. They take it from there. Members of the nonprofit can also sue these individuals individually. Okay? Are we beginning to see how this stuff is adding up already? If you are in a situation where you're supposed to be serving more than 20,000 people and you do something openly before 20,000 people, you have now opened yourself up to potentially receive a suit from 20,000 different people. This has been done. Now, am I encouraging anything? No, I'm telling you so that you understand how this whole thing works. There's another charge, fraud and misrepresentation. If the CEO intentionally misrepresented facts or hides violations, especially in reports, audits, or filings, that may rise to fraud. This is an intentional misrepresentation of facts. You can't hide or deny it. It is indisputable. Violations that have occurred has also been hidden in this booklet. When we read this one part as revised and approved by the General Assembly, right there you're hiding violations. When you look at this charge, in reports, audits, and filings, those charges will and do rise to fraud, particularly if donors, members, or regulators are misled. And this is something that has been done year in, year out, over and over and over and over again. If I go no further, for those of the individuals that we have that are still in support of, for whatever reason, our leaders, you should understand by now already that this is looking very, very, very bad for the organization. With this said, the consequences of this violation, fraud or misrepresentation, is civil or criminal penalties. If there's intent to deceive, now we know that gets bumped up to a criminal charge. Was there an intent to deceive? We already know the answer to that question is yes. The entire organization has been deceived again and again and again. Another consequence is the possible revocation of nonprofits' tax exempt status. Our tax exemption can be revoked. Many times they don't do that. They give the opportunity to the organization to clean up their act first. Fines, sanctions, or prosecution in extreme cases can be levied against those individuals. These are also including violations of state nonprofit corporation laws. Here's a problem with this. Nonprofits are governed by state corporation laws, and violating the Constitution or failing to follow proper governance can and oftentimes does violate those laws. For example, if you hold a meeting without a quorum, that can be a violation. Taking actions without proper authorization, that's a violation. When you print these books without the consent of the people, that's a violation. When you push forward amendments after having proposals pushed through a meeting unlawfully, this is willful intent. It's a violation. All of these are some very, very serious problems. When you skip a required election, most of our members do not know that we've had many elections that were skipped entirely. And many members are saying, what in the world are you talking about right now? How many times have you seen a General Assembly secretary just put into position, or their assistant just put into position, or other committees just put into position without having consent, without having approval, without even having the knowledge of it? How many times have monies from the organization been spent without the members' knowledge of it? All of these are some very serious violations. Whenever a General Assembly secretary is placed in a position, you skipped an election. The problem with this is the members don't know. And if the members are intentionally and willfully being kept in the dark about these issues, these are some more serious violations. The consequences, again, the state's attorney general can open up an investigation. Legal action to dissolve or restructure the nonprofit. Did you all hear that? To either dissolve or restructure the nonprofit. The nonprofit can be restructured, which means the opportunity to fix all of these issues can be done. Another consequence is the loss of corporate good standing or the nonprofit status. And is it necessary to be in the nonprofit? No, it's not necessary. But this is something that we need to fix before we move on. Obstruction of justice. If a CEO destroys records, coerces witnesses, or interferes with investigations, this could become obstruction, which is a criminal offense. Has there been obstruction of justice? The answer is yes. Anytime a meeting has been either postponed or individuals not permitted to come in to share this information so that these issues can be addressed, that's obstruction. When you have not allowed the proposals to go out to all the houses and locations in the organization, that is obstruction. When you hinder or prevent the members from doing anything and everything necessary to look into these matters, this is obstruction. Along with this, of course, there's IRS issues. If the cover-up relates to improper use of funds, how many of you know that we've had issues with the funds being spent in ways that are inappropriate? in ways that are improper, in ways that we don't know anything about, being spent without the knowledge of the members altogether, not being a part of that decision-making process. Failure to report key governing issues on Form 990. This is another huge problem. Why? Because the members have not seen Form 990. There is no one to the members' knowledge that's verifying, confirming, or validating the information that's going on these documents to be used by governmental bodies to reflect what's going on in the organization. That too becomes fraud. Private inurement or benefit. Many people have no idea what this is. Private benefit is when the leader or leaders are in position and they're using their position or their office or the assets, meaning property or money, for their own personal use. That doesn't happen in the organization, does it? Does anybody know of any time when finances or properties of the house of prayer has been used for anyone's personal benefit? That doesn't happen. It happens all the time. We have parsonages. We have all kinds of properties that's built, that's purchased, all types of other income-making properties where the organization, they say, is being benefited, but this is going into the personal use of some of the leaders. This is illegal. When you have inurement, we're going to get to that in a moment. The IRS can penalize both the individuals involved in this, which means Mrs. Madison, as well as Mr. Cunningham and others. All of these things can be sought after from these individuals as well as others around them, to include, again, the council and the General Assembly Secretary. Fines can be levied. Personal liability, meaning them personally, would be held accountable and not the organization. And once again, a revocation of the 501c3 status. There are real world examples of this type of situation. Nonprofit CEOs have been removed or prosecuted for falsifying board meeting minutes. Others have been removed for hiding conflicts of interest. What is a conflict of interest? Well, let's say somebody is in a position and maybe their friend gets appointed to another position, or maybe they put a family member in another position, and their friends or family members are receiving benefits that the members of the organization knows nothing about. Maybe money is involved. Maybe the use of property is involved. Maybe vehicles are involved. Are we seeing where this is going? This is a huge problem. Avoiding elections required by the bylaws is another issue that they're going to be having to face, because even that happens almost on a yearly basis. But the members of the organization think that we're only there to elect a bishop. And then that bishop is to be there until the end of his natural life. How many of our members did not know that that is unlawful? Because in this organization, 100 years now and more, All of us were told that this is how it works. And we're under the impression that it's legal. Newsflash, it is not. When you go forward, who can take action against this type of activity? The board of directors can take action. Who is the board of directors? In our case, it is the General Assembly. They can remove the CEO and even pursue legal action. They can remove the CEO and pursue legal action. Okay. State attorneys generals enforces nonprofit law. That's their task. Now, here's a problem with the state attorney's general office. When you talk about this organization, how many locations do we have? How many cities are we located in? How many cities have rules and regulations that we're supposed to be complying with? How many states are we supposed to be in compliance with when it concerns the nonprofit organizations? When it concerns the 501c3, you must abide by every single state that you're doing business in. You must abide by every single city that has a local municipality that has their own statutes and their own regulations. And you are supposed to comply with every single one of them. The IRS reviews tax-exempt compliance to make sure that the organizations that carry this exemption are all complicit with the laws of the city, state, and federal government. Donors who are not members or members of that organization, they have every right, and they oftentimes do report misconduct, or they take it upon themselves to sue in court. Whistleblowers, individuals who report on their own, they oftentimes cause investigations to take place. Now, if you suspect this, number one, you should review the nonprofit's bylaws and policies and procedures. You should document any evidence and wrongdoing. You should raise the issue with the board of directors. Now, have we done all of those things? Complied with everything. They then can take it upon themselves to report to the state attorneys general or the IRS Form 13909 for complaints against the nonprofit's leadership for not being compliant with the laws. The laws are there to make sure that people in positions of authority are not taking advantage of those who are under them. For those who don't get this, in supporting listen, everybody pay attention to this. Before I go any further,
this is pervasive, and there are so many people involved that there's too many judges, there's too many.
Okay, I can't play this because for whatever reason, I might have to reload this again. It's very, very quiet. It's soft. But what this individual is saying is when it comes to an organization and an institution, the people in that organization or institution, they have something to consider at all times. If the leaders that they're under are involved in violations of the law, those persons, it doesn't matter if it's a family business, it doesn't matter if it's your neighbors across the street, it does not matter if it's your best friend or BFF. Business, they say, is business. You do not get involved in personal affairs doing business together, which is why it is not good practice to enter into a business contract with family and friends. Is it possible? Yes, it is. But you have to make the decision, am I going to stand up and continue to support wrongdoing and illegal activity and criminals breaking the law, because this is what we call lawbreakers. We call them criminals. We do not call them men of God, women of God. No, we refer to them, everyone, me included. If I break the law, I am not exempt from being held accountable to the laws that I break. I need everybody to understand this, because when stuff begin to happen, we need to make sure that people have an expectation of what's coming. That's what this is about. Now, as we go forward, when you report, they have the option of taking that information and moving forward, or taking that information and doing nothing. But this recording would have said, this is a man who's a very powerful man in the country. But I'm not going to show his face because I need you to actually hear what he says. A man who's a very, very powerful man in the country was going to say what I'm saying now. When people are subjected to other people's actions, who's doing wrong behind closed doors, every time you keep quiet, you are now complicit to their behavior and their illegal actions. You are now in support of everything they're doing. To not go along with it simply says, I will not be a part of wrongdoing. It doesn't mean that you're picking a side. It means you're standing up for something. As we continue, if a nonprofit CEO worked together hand in hand with anybody in that organization secretly to change the organization's constitution, which is known by law as bylaws or governing documents, to strip power from members and centralize that power among a few executives without the members' knowledge or consent, several serious violations and ethical breaches are taking place. The law, again, and consequences that will apply is breach of fiduciary duty, violation of nonprofit corporate laws, and violation of state nonprofit corporate laws. Again, every single state that this activity has been conducted in will possibly pursue fraud and deception, another case. Conspiracy or collusion, another case, another charge. After governance, somebody had something to say? Alter the governance illegally. If a CEO collaborates with others to strip power from a voting body or to concentrate power unethically to a few people. Again, this constitutes conspiracy to defraud. Another charge. All of these charges come with some serious consequences. Civil conspiracy charges is one. Grounds for injunctions or reversals of the changes, meaning the court will now order every one of those amendments to be retracted, to go back to the previous Constitution prior to the illegal amendments. This is why I've been saying I'm going to focus my attention to the 2009 version that I had, and then somebody sent a copy of their 2006 version. And if I can find one earlier than that, then I'll go back and we'll use that. Now, my point is this. When they say we will make sure that any illegal changes are done away with, that you will not have to be governed by, that means that what Mr. Cunningham and what his entourage is setting up for, that means they will not be able to enforce it on their members. Right now, they're hoping that what we're doing stops because they have the organization in a chokehold. And if the people don't wake up, the organization will be turned all the way out. They're already doing things and allowing things that go against everything that we claim that we believe in. Here's my question to anyone and everyone here. How can we say this is our Heavenly Father's house? We are his people. That is his servant. If we're showing each and every one, including outside, that we are not willing to stand up for truth, that we're not willing to stand up for what's right, and we're not willing to take a stand, period. So many of y'all right now see that there's stuff going on and people don't want to. Let me tell you something. If they're not here, that's on who? Anybody that's not here, that is on them. If you don't take the time to make sure that you are a part of a meeting that is going to inform you of one, what's going on, and two, what you can do about it, and three, possibly add your input for changes to come, then that is on you. That also includes the leaders. If the leaders are not here, guess what? That's on them. It does not matter if the bishop is not present, if the council is not present, if the General Assembly Secretary is not present. When you are running around in your organization, breaking and bending all the rules, doing anything and everything you want, even adding rules without the consent of the people, it does not matter to nobody downtown and outside that you did not go to attend that meeting. None of that matters. All they're going to do is say, who is there? And we're going to move forward with them. And those individuals get to represent the entire organization. This is where we are. Now, I'm going to come back to that point when I get done reading these things that turns out into violations for Mr. Cunningham. Whenever he consorts with anybody else to break laws in the organization and then cover it up. He has also committed something called denial of members' legal rights. It doesn't matter who it is. Even your pastor in a local congregation, guess what? They're in a position and they have to abide by these laws. In member-based nonprofits, the member often has statutory rights under state law. Do you understand that this entire time, the leaders of the organization has not been making the members aware that you have rights under the federal government, under the state government, and under local governments to be able to force the leaders, as far as pastors are concerned, district or state chairmen are concerned, the general councilmen are concerned, or the bishop himself. You get to say, no, 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 you cannot do what you're doing. And they've only gotten away with what they're doing all this time because people did nothing about it. So as a result, in this nonprofit, the state and the federal government, they know that they take advantage of people all the time. But they say that you have a right to receive notice of upcoming meetings. Now, what did we do when we set up these meetings? Did we not send out advance notice to everyone in the organization? Did we not invite everybody throughout the entire organization? All of those things were done. Everything that we do, there's a purpose behind it. You have a right to review certain records. These are state and federal rights. You as a member have a right to review the financial documents of your nonprofit organization. You as a member have a right to review other documents whenever we're talking about properties being bought, properties being sold, properties being built. It does not matter. You have a right to understand and see it and review it. If the CEO bypasses, if the CEO, let me use our term, if the bishop says, no, you ain't getting to see nothing, that's none of your business. You stay in your place. You stay in line, right? This is how we've heard others respond to people asking questions. If you hear those words, you have the opportunity, you have the right, and you have the legal authority to hold them accountable to the letter of the laws of the land. Because this is not a God to the law of the land. They're not going to look at the leader of the house of prayer and say, okay, we're going to allow you to do whatever you want and have your way. They're going to hold them accountable to these laws. You will be held accountable to these laws. When they also misrepresent regulatory filings with IRS documents and omit information from the forms, this also presents state violations, again, based around fraud. When they do this, you and I might say, well, there's no point of us understanding any of that. But it is, because they're doing that in order to seek funding. They're doing that in order to seek benefits. They're doing that also to seek other programs that you and I don't know anything about. But they're saying, because we have X number of members within the organization, that qualifies us for that program and that program. So now they're qualified. Your names are being used, but you know nothing about the program, which means now they've defrauded the state or the federal government. And you know nothing about it, but your name was used in order to get access to those funds or that program that's been initiated that you know nothing about. When it comes to an election being rigged by a chairman of a board and associates along with that chairman assisting him in rigging an election, the exact laws that have been violated depend on the state and the details of the organization. But keep in mind, every single state, you have to comply with every single law. If you don't, here's another charge of breach of fiduciary duties. And all of the penalties from the first charge gets tacked onto that one. So now, if you're serving years already for, let's say, 3 counts of breach of fiduciary duties, and you get 2 more counts, your time just went up to here. These are years, people. A lot of times, this is why people in RICO cases end up with 160, 180, 190 years. They know they're not going to be able to pull all those years, but they get all those years anyway to make sure you do not come out. There's a case that I want to talk about later if we have enough time, about an individual, the one person in history that was ever charged. This one person in history was charged not with a life sentence, but with a death sentence. Because even though they did not commit a violent crime, their crime was so egregious. It cost the country they were in so much money that this person by themselves was setting the country, if they continued and got away with it, into a recession. They had worked and paid so many people off that they were looking at almost 20% of the entire country's revenue that they had control of. And the country used them as an example and said, we're not going to tolerate this from anybody. And they carried out the death sentence in less than a few weeks' time. Why am I talking about that? Because the violation of nonprofits governing documents and bylaws are done all the time. And this is why, when it comes to the law of the land, they don't permit it. They don't excuse it. They don't look past it. They're not going to do what it is that our members have done. Let's keep in mind and keep it real that these individuals who are in positions of authority to get to the bottom of certain things when people have broken laws, those persons are not indoctrinated. They do not care. They're going to nail whoever it is that committed these violations. Now, with all of that in mind, it goes on to say ultra vires actions, unauthorized corporate act. Now, what this is if the chairman and others acted outside the scope of the authority granted in the bylaws, if he took upon himself to do whatever, because I'm the one in charge, and what I say goes, I have the final say. Well, guess what? That's not true. The CEO never has the final say in a nonprofit organization. The CEO can never put himself in a position to stay there for the rest of his life in a nonprofit organization. This is why this meeting is so important. When they do that, it exposes individuals to liability for acting improperly. That means the leader will be held accountable. Period. Another charge he'll be hit with is fraud and misrepresentation or concealment, to hide it and keep it from coming before the people. Has this happened in our organization? Has the council and the pastors and the leader done anything at all to conceal and keep their violations from coming forward into the full view of the members of the organization? Have they worked to conceal the business of the finances and how they're spending and how they're managing these finances? People, I'm telling you, we have a huge problem. Let me get to the bottom of this, and then I want to close this part out so that we can cover questions. The consequences of breaking these laws, first and foremost, the election result can be invalidated. What does that mean? Members or other board members could bring a lawsuit to void the election, declare the CEO appointment void, and enforce the correct procedure. Now, do you need a lawsuit to do that? Absolutely not. Does our Constitution cover that process? Yes, it does. Absolutely does. So, since the Constitution covers this information, guess what the members of the organization have the power and the authority to do? We get to fix it. You have the power and the authority given by the Constitution and the courts of the land to remove the individual. The chairman who rigged the election and any colluding persons can be removed from office or board if the governing documents permit or via court order. So what does that mean now? See, listen, every member needs to know this. The court does not have to fix this. We have members right now who's saying, but they aren't going to do anything. Guess what? They don't need to do anything. It simply takes a few things to be done, and the law is on whose side? The ones abiding by the law or the ones breaking the law? So in the event of those abiding by the law, once they do the few things necessary and required, all they have to do is take it, file it, and sit back and let the court do what others in that institution have neglected to do. Why would the courts do that? Because the court knows that people are scared. The court knows that people are afraid. They know that they're afraid. They know that they're scared. They know that they're intimidated. They know that people lie. They know that people will retaliate. They know that people will threaten. They know that people will get angry. They know that people are going to get mad. They know that they're going to ostracize you. They know they're going to weaponize the people against you. They know that they're going to do all these things to turn everybody against that one big mouth individual who's standing up and causing nothing but trouble and problems up in here, up in here. They know. So it doesn't take a whole lot of people. The law has been put there in place for those who are bold enough, brave enough, concerned enough to stand up and do something about it. And that's what you all are doing. Because you care, because you're concerned, because you don't like what you see going on. Because I have a problem with what I see going on. I did not sign up for this. You said we were going to the beach when we signed up to join the military. You didn't say we were going there in uniform so that we can run up and down the beach while doing a whole bunch of work and grunt work and not enjoying ourselves. See, there's a whole difference when it comes to presentation. And when you sold me this package, you didn't tell me I had to walk around and march every time you come into town, and I need to give you more money after I've given you a whole lot of money every single week. You didn't tell me that this would be called compensation. You didn't tell me that in order to get my soul salvation, I got to call somebody my Addy. I got an Addy already. I don't need another Addy. Or who says I want to see a stranger and I'm okay with calling them Addy. And if I don't, all of a sudden people looking at me funny. We didn't sign up for that. What is the point that I'm making? Every member in here has seen things that they did not agree with. But we have not had the opportunity to stand up, speak out, voice our concerns. And whenever a person does, all of a sudden, they run into problems, they run into resistance, they run into, it's the Queen Board, now they mad. The ushers, now they mad. The willing workers, now they mad. The choir, now they mad. The band, how dare you, man, now they mad. Maids, how dare, oh, don't even get started on the maids. We should now, after the last video, we should now be at a point where everybody is ready to stand up and put all this stuff to a stop, put it to a halt. Same thing. Thank you, Josh. Security, mad. Secretaries and staff, mad. Elder board, mad. Deacon board, mad. Nurses board, mad. All these people, pastors looking at you, preaching about you from the front, not saying your name. Listen, this is not anything that people signed up for. And when you stand up for what's right, then you're really doing not only yourself a service, but you're doing something greater than perhaps people have done in history, because you're bringing attention to something that you may not even be aware of how far-fetched it really is. And after we talked about those maids, everybody should be jumping on board left and right, left and right. Why? Because what you didn't know before, you no longer have that as an excuse. For those who say, well, wait a minute, I don't. What about the former maids? What about all those ones that certain things did happen to? What about the ones coming forward and saying, just like that Me Too movement, me too, me too, me too, it happened to me too, and me, and me, and me, you would be surprised and alarmed at how many people still have not come up with the courage and the gumption to be able to stand up and simply say, enough is enough. That's what this is all about. You have the right given to you by the state and the federal government to keep these people and hold them personally liable for everything that they've done wrong according to the law. The individuals may face liability for losses suffered by the nonprofit due to their breach of fiduciary duty. They may need to compensate the organization. So a lot of people keep saying, but what about this? What about that? Well, what about how much we gave over all these years? My granddaddy gave, my grandmama gave, my mama gave, my aunt gave, my cousin gave, my uncle gave. Well, I'm 5 generations in. Well, what about all this stuff? And are they getting away with this and that? Listen, every single dime that anybody did take, run, what looks like they got away with, you don't have to worry about all that. What you and I can't take care of or fix, individuals are already in positions of authority to take care of and fix. So again, don't worry about all of those things. Just worry about the first thing, fixing it, preventing it by stopping it, and then getting ready to come forward so that we can start reformations. The law also says that we have a right to donor withdrawal and something called reputational harm, which is the organization may suffer loss of public trust, donor funding, and partnerships as a result of finding out about the violations that's been done by our leaders. There are tax consequences, which we're not going to worry about because they're going to go after them. And the corrective steps required is the organization may have to hold a new, valid election. That has to happen. Why? Because these are the laws already set forth. These are the things that we must comply with because that's what's there already. You fix it after that first election. You do what the law says today, and you put people in position so that they can assist everyone to come back later. The next few weeks, the next few months, so that now you can begin the work of fixing everything. But you must use what's available to you today so that you can put people in to go down the line and show everyone how to properly fix it tomorrow. Does that make sense? You can't make things up today and do things without the law today. If we do, we're now doing the same thing they did. And we are no better. And we're just repeating the same behavior. Now, as we go forward, what should we check? What should we do? You need to review the bylaws and constitution of the nonprofit, which is what we've done. What are the rules for election of officers? Who is it that votes? How nominations happen? How election oversight is provided? Everybody get a constitution, or better yet, go to the videos. Go back to the videos where we're covering the Constitution. Listen carefully, write down notes so that you'll understand the process. You need to also review the minutes or the records of how the election was conducted. Were proper notices given? Was an independent inspector appointed? Was the process transparent? The answer to those questions is an overwhelmingly no. It was fraudulent. It was not real. It was rigged. and these things we know. And they took it and they ran with it and still running with it. Now, we're going to get to that also in a moment. You have to consider whether the chairman and those involved disclose conflict or self-interest. Did the council, did the General Assembly secretary allow the floor open for anybody that had any issues with what was going on? No. Did they open up the door for people to have conversation, to come forward and voice their concerns? No, none of those things were done. It shows complete and utter control. You must gather at this time evidence of manipulation. We don't have to do that because it's been done already. We know that these things were manipulated. The evidence and the documents show that it was manipulated. Whether they changed ballots, secret ballots not used, eligible voters excluded, improper counting. Well, we know that. Me, Sister Lewis, we were eligible voters. Were we allowed to go in? No. We were excluded. Just like other people, they made sure that there was people who was in line with the pastors. The same way we said, okay, you all start going back to the house of prayer. Start going there. Don't have to worry about service, but make sure you're there on site to be present for a meeting. What happened? They started having meetings during the week. They started having their conversations during cabinet. Started avoiding a house meeting. Then reports went out. If you see somebody here that hasn't been here in a while, make sure you let us know who they are so that we can handle it. All of this is illegal. This is why I said, don't worry about it right now. We have documentation to show that these things were being done. Next, contact the board or independent directors to request an investigation or corrective action. Well, guess what? We've done that. So for all of you who's wondering, well, what is this about? What is that about? Why is this and why is that? All of those things were being done all the time, the entire time. Now we have all these steps that have been completed again and again and again over the last 3 years, just about. If internal resolution fails, consider contacting the state attorney general's office for charities and nonprofits or the relevant state oversight body. What did we hear? Oversight body. They have the authority to fix it. They have the authority to enforce it. Do we need to enforce anything? No. Do you need to stand up and fight anything? No. Don't have to do anything. Right is right. Wrong is wrong. Are we trying to tear down people? No. Are we trying to hurt anyone? No. No. This is only about doing what is right. That's all. If financial harm is involved or funds were misused in relation to the rigged election, consult a lawyer about potential civil or criminal claims. These things will be taken care of and handled. Okay? Here we go. Pay attention, everybody. When a nonprofit CEO refuses to step down, I'm letting that sink in. When a nonprofit CEO refuses to step down, or when they refuse to acknowledge wrongdoing after being presented with a list of violations. What is this? List of violations? Check. What is this? Violations notice. Check. What is this? A letter of compliance. Check. When they've been given these things, see, I'm telling you all, the entire time, we're just giving everybody the opportunity to do what is right by law. All through the scripture, we say that we're people that follow the word, We say that we're doing all the word, what the words say, Stand up for what's right. Do what's right. Hold the line. Always do what's right. Always abide by the good book. Well, when it's time, the question is, are we going to do the right thing? When a nonprofit CEO, you are the example. You are in the seat, the top seat. You want people to call you supreme, your honor supreme. Why? You're supposed to comply and obey the law. You're supposed to be walking in it. 17th chapter of Deuteronomy, you're supposed to be obeying it. You are the example. When they refuse to step down or even acknowledge wrongdoing after being presented with a list of violations, and then continue to act as CEO despite credible challenges to their authority, it constitutes serious legal, ethical, and fiduciary violations due to the nature of the violations, the governing documents, which is the Constitution and bylaws, the actions of the board of or members, and the applicable state nonprofit corporation laws. None of those things being followed. None of those things being obeyed. Not taken into consideration any of those things. Not the law of the land, not the law of the organization, not the voice of the board of directors, General Assembly, and not even the members. It is a clear-cut case of fraud, deception, manipulation, coercion, collusion, obstruction of justice. I can name right off the top of my head over and over and over various charges and several accounts of each charge. We, as members of this organization, have a serious problem. And if it is not dealt with, then you can literally be in a situation where the organization can be ordered to be dissolved. And then there's no organization. Now, what if the people stood up and said, we want to fix it? This is what is necessary to fix it. Here's a breakdown of the laws that's broken whenever people in authority refuse to step down. Now, this time, as we go forward, we're not talking about just the bishop. Because how many people are still sitting in positions of authority knowing that they've either broken the law and committed violations or they've supported violations to the law? It's every single member in every single position of authority. Every single one. What this means is every one of them have breached their fiduciary duty. Here that term comes up again. It's another count. If the CEO ignores written violations, refuses to acknowledge wrongdoing, and clings to power despite being out of compliance, they are certainly breaching the duty of obedience and loyalty by putting their own interest above the entire organization's. The consequences: personal liability for damages, removal by the board or the court order, loss of directors and officers' liability insurance coverage, and court-ordered restitution or corrective action. I believe that the court will order corrective action as well as a dismissal. Meaning, since you've been at the top and you are the one looking into or operating everything with no one's input, I think as a part of the penalty, that certain ones at the top will be ordered by the court to assist those who's fixing their mess. There is a state and federal charge violation of bylaws or constitution. Most nonprofit bylaws include terms of office and procedures for removal. Ours include that. But what is it that happens immediately after we put forth the terms of office? They go back a year later and do what? Push through the General Assembly another amendment that says what? XYZ will be the bishop for the period of their natural life. Again, this is illegal. Oversight powers for the board of membership. You're supposed to have an oversight committee. Remember this? If they have not enacted that, same thing. They themselves will be accountable. If they violated the bylaws or constitution, also the disciplinary procedures have not been followed. Long story short, if the CEO refuses to follow these rules or refuses lawful removal, they may be acting ultra vires beyond their legal authority. The consequences are actions taken as CEO could be invalidated and reversed. Every action that was taken since that time he was served could be court ordered to be reversed. Legal challenge to any decisions made during that time can also be reversed. Every one of the decisions that were made can be reversed. Board or members may seek a court injunction. Did y'all hear this? The board or who else? The board or the members may seek a court injunction or declaratory judgment to remove the CEO or nullify their actions. You don't have to wait for that formal meeting. This is why I've been telling people. And again, if they're not watching the videos, that's whose fault? If you're not meeting in these meetings, that's whose fault? So people are saying, okay, well, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Okay, stand by. Watch how this whole thing rolls right along. Now, everybody, again, is going to be easy to jump on the bandwagon because we're trying to fix this for who? Everyone. Whoever had a hand in doing these things, violations, okay, they will be removed, and then certain things will follow. But the rest of the organization, people are going to be so happy and ecstatic I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. They're going to say, why didn't we do this a long time ago? Obstruction or retaliation. If the CEO is ignoring these formal complaints or refusing service of written violations, if they're retaliating against whistleblowers, staff, or board members who challenge them, if they're refusing access to organizational records. Now, have our leaders done any of these things? Have they ignored complaints? Yes. Mm-hmm. Have they refused service of written violations? Yes. Have they retaliated against whistleblowers? Yes. Staff and board members who challenged them? Yes. When the statement was made, if you're not going to follow so-and-so, there's the door. I'm trying to get everybody to understand. You can't say that in a nonprofit. It's coming back to bite you. All those things constitute a violation of, pay attention, whistleblower protection laws. And in some cases, some states, even committing obstruction of corporate governance processes. You don't have to understand these terms. They're just more charges, which means more fines and more time is going to be levied against people. We've been trying to help people. So when somebody says, listen, here's a flotation device, you're out there sinking in the middle of the ocean, let me pull you in and take you out the water. And you say, forget your device, I'll make it on my own. Okay. We've been trying over and over and over and over and over again. Let's go ahead and close this out. If the CEO refuses to step down, but they continue to access bank accounts, if they continue to control organizational decisions, if they continue to spend organizational money without that valid authority, they are wrongfully exercising control over the organization's assets, which will be considered conversion, which is called civil theft or fraud. That could result in civil lawsuit for misappropriation of funds or criminal lawsuit, criminal investigation, especially because the funds were involved. And let's not forget another investigation by IRS for misuse of the tax-exempt organization's money. Y'all don't have to worry about it. Okay? Something about the milk is not clean. And I'm telling you all, just because people are wearing suits and ties does not mean they're angels in disguise. Okay? The devil many times will appear as an angel of light. Maybe somebody need to watch Meet Joe Black. This is, I'm not going to go there. The spirit of death took a body and he's walking around people just looking like a normal, regular person. And you don't know that that's death. Meet Joe Black. Violation of state nonprofit corporation laws is a big deal. Again, how many states are we talking about? It's a big deal. Nonprofits are governed by state laws. The State of North Carolina Nonprofit Corporation Act, it includes provisions about proper removal of officers. Guess who has that act from the state of North Carolina? That act includes how to remove officers, enforcement of members or board authority, protection of corporate governance processes. These are things that the leader's supposed to be doing. So whenever we see people getting upset with other people for trying to do what is right, something is wrong with who? The one doing something right, or something wrong with them when you're trying to stand up to defend wrong? People. If a CEO remains in power after proper removal procedures have been followed, they are now illegally occupying that role. And the state and federal government does not take that lightly. Okay? Failure to uphold public trust is another issue. And for those who say they love our leaders, you need to be in this meeting because we're telling you what needs to be done to help them help themselves. The best thing that can be done is to step down and walk away, because you've dug a hole so deep it is impossible to climb up out of it. The best thing to do is to step down and walk away. Whatever follows them, follows them. But as far as the organization is concerned, their hand is no longer on the steering wheel. The longer, I'm going to say this for all of you members who are in support of the leaders of the organization, the longer they hold their hand on the steering wheel, the longer they hold their hand on the wheel, the more problems they're inviting for themselves. And the members who love them need to be talking to them to convince and persuade them, listen, the best thing you can do is let this go. Little teeny tiny bit of time is left. I'm saying this ain't going to May. I doubt highly this is not going to make it to May 30th, 2026. So let's continue. Failure to uphold public trust. This is not a criminal offense by itself, but nonprofit CEOs have a public fiduciary obligation, especially if they solicit donations, and our organization does a huge job of soliciting donations. If they receive grants, if they serve vulnerable populations, then the leaders of this organization have a duty to serve and uphold public trust. It is their obligation. A refusal to accept accountability undermines public trust. And it can and oftentimes do lead to loss of funding and donations, revocation of the exempt status, and disqualification from serving in nonprofit leadership roles in the future. Now, that sounds like it's nothing, but that is a very big deal, because once you get hit with that, it's easy to tack everything else on top of it. We're going to say you can't do these things, and now that you've been hit with that, all of these other things will follow. And that's where your time gets stacked up against you. What governs the CEO's legitimacy? The bylaws and constitution of the nonprofit is what takes care of this. A CEO is appointed or removed by the members. Our bishop is appointed or removed by the people. What happens when they violate policies or laws? Who has the authority to discipline or replace them? That's the people. If the board or members have followed the correct procedure to remove or challenge the CEO and they still refuse to step down, the CEO has now clearly acted illegally to hold and maintain that position. I've been saying since February, March, all of these positions are technically suspended. I've been saying it over and over and over, knowing that people not believing me. That's okay. It's coming up again. So let's go forward. I'm going to hit one more point to show you all why this is such a big deal. If a CEO of a nonprofit deliberately hides or withholds information about their own compensation from the board of directors or members, especially when those individuals have a legal or fiduciary right to know, that act becomes a serious legal violation under both state nonprofit law and federal tax law. You have to disclose to the people how much money you're getting paid. Listen, every member of this organization, they can ignore me if they want to. It's going to be to their own detriment. If the leaders don't get in line and understand what's coming, it's going to hurt nobody but them. This was to help them. And the easiest thing, I say it again, that they could possibly do is walk away. People have been saying, Lewis, let it go. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. No, y'all looking at this wrong. They need to let it go because of all of the, I'm going to say it this way. They don't realize the tsunami of legal problems that the bishop, Mrs. Madison, the General Assembly Secretary, and the General Counsel is needing to get prepared to face that's coming. A tsunami is really coming, and it's not going to be a revival. A tsunami. And so when they refer to him as a tsunami prophet, okay, well, that can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. You've been told time and time again. When you look at this nonprofit hiding this information, it can also expose the CEO and possibly the organization to civil and criminal liability, especially if donor funds or public grants are involved. Let's look, here's a breakdown of the laws, also in association with this one point about the compensation of the bishop that nobody knows anything about. Breach of fiduciary duty, again, duty of loyalty and duty of candor. That's the first time we've used that term because these different actions, these different violations, they involve different laws. The duty of candor is a brand new violation and a charge that's going to be levied against them. As CEO, they have the fiduciary duty to act in the best interests of the nonprofit. They have a duty to be transparent with the board. That means you can't hide how much money you're getting from the organization. People, wake up. They have a duty to disclose conflicts of interest and compensation arrangements, especially if they set or influence their own pay. The law says if you set up or arrange your own compensation plan, it is absolutely essential that you tell the people how much money you're getting. Oh, this is such a big one. This is a big one. If the CEO look, let me show y'all. See this? If the CEO hides, all I'm doing is reading information that I pulled off of websites. This is state law. Some is federal law. Anybody can acquire this information because it's supposed to be transparent. If the CEO hides their salary, they are likely breaching the duty of loyalty by acting in their own self-interest, and the duty of care by failing to provide material information. What are the consequences? Civil liability, meaning they will be charged money. That can end up being a whole lot of money. And full restitution. Removal from position. The board may rescind their compensation. And lawsuits can ensue from board members or members. Violation of IRS regulations, meaning, oh my gosh, pay attention. If they are a CEO of a nonprofit, they must report and give key employee compensation on Form 990, which is a public document. If they willfully hide this information internally or from those with a right to know, it is a red flag for excess benefit transactions. That means you received a huge benefit package that nobody in their right mind would ever agree to. This is what this is saying. You lined yourself up to get. And you used your power and authority to do so. And it makes it worse when you're sitting in your position illegally, when people have brought to you violations that you've committed and you refuse to step down. Private inurement. This is an illegal benefit to an insider. And we've seen this over and over and over and over and over again. If this is proven, which we already proved it, the CEO may be subject to intermediate sanctions by the IRS. Listen to this, everybody. Excise taxes up to 225% of the excess benefit, meaning 2 1/4 times the amount that you got. You got to pay that. 225% of the excess benefit. The organization also could lose its tax exempt status if people are not trying to fix it. And the IRS may impose penalties for an inaccurate or incomplete Form 990 filings. And this is against them personally. Now, let me go ahead and I'm going to rush through the next several. Violation of state nonprofit corporation laws, fraud or misrepresentation. These are civil and criminal charges. Violation of organizational bylaws or policies. We've been talking about that from the jump. These are just stacking up more and more and more violations and charges and penalties and consequences, fines, as well as prison time. If the chairman or board of directors work with the CEO to change a nonprofit's constitution and bylaws without the knowledge or consent, more charges. Listen, instead of me going through this, the bottom line is, let me just ask you all a question. Can you all who are here see that the leaders of the organization have indeed violated the laws of the organization? And according to what we've read, even many of the laws of the land. Is there anybody here that does not understand that? Is there anybody in the meeting that does not understand that all of our leaders have now either directly or indirectly violated or supported violations of our laws and the laws of the land? Is there anybody that does not understand? The biggest one is inurement. 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 What that means is when you're taking from an organization and you're using its funds for yourself. You're not using it according to what the law says you're supposed to use it for. You're using those funds for yourself. This is inurement. And this is something that we have issues with when it comes to Mrs. Madison. This is something that we have issues with when it comes to the bishops. This is something that we have issues with even when it comes to the council, because a lot of times they're being involved and being used to also do certain things with this money. So I'm scrolling down to the bottom of this now. More charges. Failure to properly report compensation is another charge by itself. Misappropriation. Compensation is supposed to be reported to the members, to the board. They're supposed to be in the know. And since you set up your own compensation plan, that's another violation by itself. One more thing. A reasonable salary for a CEO of a nonprofit organization, let's say $1 billion in assets or revenue. A reasonable salary compared to other organizations that have built $1 billion minimum. Their CEO, and let me show you which one, is at $500,000 to $600,000. One example, American Red Cross. You did something to the sound. One example, American Red Cross. They have a $3 billion assets or total revenue. Their CEO, $3 billion. Their CEO receives $600,000 a year. 600 grand. That equates to $50,000 per month. 50,000 per month. You don't want to know. I did the math. I put it on one of our videos. You don't want to know how much minimum our bishop is getting to put in his pocket every single month. It is insane. It is insane. Now, with that in mind, there's another charge for breaking the reasonable compensation law. And you're taking personal benefit out of a nonprofit organization. So this has to do with the IRS, and it prohibits excess benefit transactions under IRC Section 4958. This means your compensation must be comparable to similar roles at similar organizations, approved in advance by an independent board. The members didn't approve of this. This is something they gave to themselves. And it must be supported by data, surveys, reports, and compensation consultants. It has to also be documented in meeting minutes. How much does the bishop make? That has to be documented. And board records must also reflect this. Failure to comply, more and more charges. So I'm trying to hurry to finish this. And then one more thing I wanted to talk about that I'm not, which is the role and responsibilities of the CEO of the House of Prayer. I asked before, what is the job of the leader of the House of Prayer? And no one can answer that question. No one. I have a list of responsibilities that other CEOs fulfill in similar type institutions. And again, I won't read it for sake of time. I want to respect your time and keep in mind the fact that we had an issue starting because of the update that was done. But there's a long list of responsibilities that allow, again, the CEO of Red Cross, for them to get $600,000 a year. They're not expecting him to just travel around the country and take bags of cash. They're expecting that man to earn that money. Ours is not doing a thing to earn anything. And certainly when it comes to anybody else, they're not doing nothing for the organization. They're certainly not doing anything for the members. So I'm going to go ahead and end here. My intent was to simply go over the list of violations and to show what legal ramifications they're going to run into as a result of committing these violations, as well as allow the members to understand what the board of directors are supposed to know and what the members are supposed to know, compared to what it is that we don't know. So we're right at 2 hours and 13 minutes. So let me go ahead and stop here. And we're going to go ahead and go to questions. Are there any questions about anything? Oh. Dave, do you see any questions up there that?
I haven't so far.
Okay. Do we have any questions from anyone? Why does that even matter? Why does what matter? Oh, that's conversation in the chat. Okay, so if there's no one here that does not understand the violations that have occurred, I have a formal declaration. I have a formal declaration. Because of the time, it's 2 minutes, 2 hours and 14 minutes. We can set up one more meeting to go over the formal declaration. Since we've seen the violations committed by the General Assembly Secretary, the General Assembly, the General Counsel, the bishop and CEO. And since we've seen that there is no intent nor desire for them to step down and to try to make amends and fix the problems that they have caused to better the organization, then it's now up to the people. The law says the members have the authority to do what is necessary to rectify a situation in the event that the leaders ignore the opportunity to rectify a situation. In other words, once you bring a matter to their attention and they ignore it, then you have the authority to take those matters further. If you've done all of those things already, then you have the authority to take those matters outside. So before we take these matters outside, well, I've taken the liberty to draw up a formal declaration. What that declaration does is it makes declarations from the membership, from the body, to the leaders of the organization. Since they have failed, since they have neglected to take hold of their responsibilities, the members don't have a choice but to now do something about this organization's leadership. With that in mind,
There is questions now.
with that in mind, this declaration, we can move forward with it. What is the day? Saturday?
Saturday the 18th.
We're going to set one more meeting for the purpose of going over the declaration. And that'll be for next Saturday, same time, 6 o'clock. We're not going to have a lot to cover. It's just going to be over the declaration coming from the members to the leaders of the organization. And that declaration will be coming from the members that are part of the meeting. Period. That's why the meeting is so important. So, with that in mind, next Saturday at 6 p.m., we'll have one last meeting, and that will be to cover the declaration, to answer questions that anybody might have pertaining to the declaration, and any other questions pertaining to the same thing as they asked in the scripture. Who giveth thee the authority to do what it is you're doing? Well, the laws of the land give the members that authority. So here's your thing, people. This right here, this is going forward. There is no longer a wait period, waiting to see what the bishop is going to do, waiting to see what the council is going to do, waiting to see what the General Assembly Secretary is going to do, because we now know they're not going to do a thing. Now we can move forward since we've given an opportunity for every member of the organization to come to this meeting so that we can talk about these issues, so that we can move forward to resolving these issues, so that we can hold anybody accountable who has done anything wrong according to the laws of the land and the laws of the organization. If you love the organization, you mean right by the organization, you want to do right by the organization, then you will be a part of what it is that we're doing to fix the organization and get the organization back in alignment with the law of the land so that we can move forward as an organization and do what is right according to what we've been saying we've been doing all along while lying to people, including ourselves. We can get ourselves in line so that we can be a nonprofit to be of assistance to those who need it, but more importantly, so that we can act out and conduct ourselves based on the word and help people to find, look for, or come into the knowledge of what is necessary to receive eternal life. So with that in mind, next Saturday, we're going to cover the declaration. There will be no more need of a meeting after we cover the declaration. Okay? There will be no need of a meeting after we cover the declaration. So that said, you said that it was a question.
There are some questions.
Okay.
Here. I think the first one I saw was NBNNC. Are the properties in the organization's name? Do you see that one? It's not too far back.
Okay. Are the properties? Oh, see it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are the properties in the organization's name or in the individual bishop's name? Very good question. Madison property money goes to D. I know that for a fact, given family interaction with her. Yes, and the thing is that there's quite a bit of issues when it comes to the properties. But, and this is a very important question, a very good question. But the reason why I don't want to go into detail about that quite yet is because I don't want to alert individuals as to what it is that we know. So that people won't go back and try to do anything. So just know that there's a lot of property in the name, under the umbrella, rather, of the United House of Prayer for All People. Under the umbrella does not mean it's reflected that the House of Prayer owns it. Y'all need to understand this. Just because a property is listed under the umbrella, that does not mean that the property is reflected as being owned by the organization. So as long as you understand that, then there's a little bit more that you'll be able to understand later. And there's a reason why sometimes people put things under an umbrella. Just because you're walking under my umbrella doesn't mean that you are a part of my family. I'll put it that way. With the quickness, does Bailey family get the revenue from Bailey properties and McCullough family, etc.? Again, this is a very good question. However, understand this. Under each administration, after the change of administration, there were certain other things that were changed as well. So the easiest way, the short answer to your question is no. But again, I can't go into a lot of detail because we don't want individuals going back to change or fix anything. Everything, just want it to stay as it is. And now here's your thing. Y'all might be saying, well, he's given too much. No, I'm not. I'm not at all. There's so much stuff. Y'all would be amazed. There's so much stuff that they have to go back and clean and fix and try to turn around and change. It's so very much. But there's ways of finding out and finding certain things that's been intentionally lost or hidden or misplaced. Is just lying around. There's things in the V folder, the letter V is in Victor, that should be under E for elephant, but it's there on purpose to make you think that it's just a bag of rice. And you pull it out and you just see a bag of rice. But what's down inside that bag is what you don't know. Okay, so anyway, this is what's coming up. In order to get to all of those things, we got to get past the declaration. So it's coming. Josh is ready to hear it. You're exactly right about the properties. Keep eyes on the money. Wake up, people. I'll sign any declaration. Have my vote and signature. Yeah, let's do it. Why isn't counsel on your side? Counsel is not on my side because, spacious grace, because counsel is involved in the corruption of the organization. They're not on my side. They're not on our side because they're involved in the corruption. So they need to cover up the corruption. If the council is not corrupt, then they would have been doing everything necessary to hold the leaders accountable. Even if I'm a council person, a council man, if I'm a representative, if I travel to council, if I am not corrupt, if I'm standing up for what's right, if I'm doing what's right, my intent is to stand for what's right. Well, as soon as I see wrong, I'm going to speak out against it. I don't care that I'm a councilman. I'm not a councilman to serve that man's interest. I'm not a councilman to serve the general counsel's interest. I'm not supposed to be a counsel to serve the judge's interest. I'm supposed to be here to serve the interest of the people and the organization. That's where they went wrong. They're not here for the people. They've never been here for the people. And they lie to the people all the time to get the people to believe that I'm here for you. On a weekly basis, every single pastor of the organization is doing everything they can to take that dollar bill out of your pocket and put it in the House of Prayer bank account. That's what they're doing. You can say all day long, they love me. My pastor loves me. Okay. Stop giving money.
See how much longer they love you.
See what happens. Stop giving money. Don't give another dime. I've heard pastors get up and literally give sermons based on people who are broke. Talking about, he said, you show me somebody who broke and he never got nothing. I'll show you somebody that the Lord hates. What? Wow. And I've heard this around the organization for years. Years. Right now, we have individuals getting ready for another quote unquote revival. House of Prayer revival. I'm going to do a video about this. Revival in the House of Prayer is about people getting down on their hands and knees on the floor and saying Addy, 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 Addy over and over and over and over and over until something moves you. That's not biblical teaching. So why are we teaching people this? If you love me, you're supposed to be telling me the truth, even when it hurts, even if I don't like it. You go to the doctor at the hospital and you go there with a broken leg and they give to you some bubblegum tape and they wrap your leg up in bubblegum tape because you're a child. And they tell mom and dad, okay, keep this on. And when they take it off, you can rinse it, pieces of it, so that the child can chew it. Is the child going to love that doctor? They're giving them bubblegum tape. Of course. But is that doctor loving its patient? Are they taking care of its patient? No. Giving a child what it wants is not helping that child. You're supposed to give the child what the child needs, not what the child wants. So sometimes the teachers of the scripture, they scolded people. With that in mind, as we go forward, understand that the pastors are the number one defense on behalf of the leader. They're not there for you. They don't care about you.
Next question is from Jeremy Killingsworth. Do you see that? It says, what are the next steps to remedy and what can we do to help?
Oh, good question.
That's an excellent question.
The next steps are to be present next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Since this is going on, there's been this is reason why all of this is on here. There's a reason why. There's a reason why we did everything that we did. There's a reason why I invited Mr. Cunningham to come to the meeting. Matter of fact, we thought he was in one of the meetings. Somebody came to one of the trial runs.
Check there's a message.
Yeah, I saw. Thank you. Somebody came to one of the trial runs, and they used Aldino. And I haven't had the chance to put it in the video, but I took pictures because I was like, oh, wow. Okay, he's here. Y'all know how he's here. Right? We wasn't waving. We wasn't saluting. We wasn't doing none of that. So, okay, well, let me catch you up to speed. Since you're using Aldino, well, I'll just call you by your name, Aldino. And to catch them up to speed, start letting them know. We've been letting people know that you've been lying to the members. We've been letting people know how you've been deceiving the entire organization. We've been letting the people know that you're lying all the time, everywhere. All of these things is in the meeting. And there's nothing to hide. We're being completely transparent. So, Mr. Cunningham and all the leaders of the organization, why is it that we're doing everything that we're doing and there's not been one peep out of any of the leaders of the organization? Not one response, official response. There's been a lot of talk from the front in the service, but no response. Why is that? So, with that in mind, to answer your question, Kill, the people, this has now been done so that the people don't have to do anything. I didn't say that all this time because, well, we need to be authentic and we needed individuals to come forward for themselves, to stand up for themselves. So all that said, the people don't, all you got to do is just sit back, come to the meeting, listen to the declaration next week, and then we'll go from there. Next, I get
some people asking for the keys to the Maybach. I don't know when they're going to get a ride.
Oh, that might be sooner than you think. Because everything that the organization owns is everything that the people own. And it's all supposed to be made available for the people. So anyway, again, it'd be a whole lot sooner than you think. And I know that sounds like a joke, but I'm not joking at all. 100%.
Next is peace abide, I believe, unless you see one after that. What will the declaration do? What's the reason for it?
What does the declaration do? What's the reason for it? The declaration declares, it is a statement that declares to the organization and it declares to the leaders what we, the people, are now doing going forward. I make this declaration. This is what we're doing. Like it or not. It's like we used to play a game as children with cards. I declare war, right? You're not asking permission anymore. You're not trying to barter anymore. You're not trying to determine, okay, what are you willing to do anymore? All of the trying is over. We've been trying to talk to them since the beginning of the year.
And he has your phone number and address.
Thank you. And yes, he has our phone number. He has our address. And when I said in Charlotte, I said, if you in here, those of you putting lies on YouTube about me and the house of prayer, be out here tomorrow night. Bring your Bible. That's the last time anybody heard him invite me to come out to see him about anything. I let it be known it was a show. It was a show at that time, and it's always been a show ever since, because unfortunately, our leader is not standing up. How do people say standing on business? He's not standing on business. He's playing a lot of games along with the other leaders. Mr. Commodore, I called him out in Virginia, Newport News. He went and hid behind a bus. They're playing games while people are going through what they're going through. We have individuals literally leaving here, believing the lies coming from the leaders of our organization. And they're doing nothing whatsoever for them. This is why I talked about Mr. Belton. Mr. Belton put the information out that there was a 70-some-year-old woman who's put out on the street because she didn't have the rent to pay for the apartment that she was in when she shouldn't have been paying rent in the first place. And how much money had been collected by the organization that she pumped into the organization. More than enough to cover rent for how many years? And a bigger question that I asked was, how much rent was Mr. Bailey paying? This man is living in several mansions, tens of thousands of square feet large. Every piece of furniture in it. They took that woman's furniture and put it out on the street. These things ought not be. Mm-hmm. Not a care or concern was given to her. And people who have been in this organization giving for decades, constantly giving. Not one thought goes out to them or their families, nothing. And even when they leave here, nothing is done in the honor of them. I've seen times when the leader and the general counsel have wanted stuff, money from the families for people who leave. How are you going to seek money from the family of people who are passed on and you've done nothing for them, but you still want to take? And we're talking about multimillionaires. Again, this is beyond asking, what are you willing to do? No, we're not seeking anything whatsoever from the council, the General Assembly Secretary, or Mr. Cunningham any longer. Nothing from Mrs. Madison, nothing whatsoever. We're just moving forward, and we're going to make this declaration. The declaration, once again, is to let the organization know, along with all of its leaders, know where the members stand and what we're going to do. And so we have the right, we have the authority, we have the complete backing by law to stand up and represent the entire organization. For those who are here, to represent the entire organization and say where we as a people are going. And that's what's coming up. So,
the next question. I'm so sorry.
The reason for it is so that we can put all this stuff to a stop. We've been chasing the council and Mr. Cunningham all around the organization. He carrying loads and loads of security everywhere he goes in case we pop up. Mm-hmm. Why? Okay, so to stop all the shenanigans, to stop all this nonsense and games, that's what the declaration is for. So once we read it, once everybody understands it, at that point in time, I'll make an announcement after the declaration. You will hear that announcement within the end of that declaration. And then the declaration will declare to everyone what the organization, what the people of the organization are doing to fix the problems caused by leadership who are neglecting to fix these problems that are violations occurring because they're not following the laws of the land or the laws of the organization. That's what this declaration is going to do. I'm sorry, next.
Giovanni Johnson asked 2 questions, so I'll read them both. Did you call on the name of Addie? And then he asked, did you feel anything?
I did a long, long time ago. And I did a long, long time ago. And today, I unfortunately do feel something whenever I call, or that title, it escapes my lips. I don't feel what I felt before, but I do feel something. I'd be lying if I say I didn't. And I'm still working on that. Still praying on it, because I shouldn't feel what I feel whenever I think about it. I don't like what, these people have done using that title and giving people the impression that they are a father to them while they're robbing them, manipulating them, lying to them, deceiving them, thieving, stealing from them, setting them up to destroy them and their families and their future, and draining the entire communities for as much as they can wherever the house of prayer is set up. It's not the building, it's not the organization, it's the men and the woman who's sitting at the top that's destroying the lives that's in this organization, from finances, their health. We see many pastors, and I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to say it. There's several pastors that can easily prove. I'm going to throw you a bone for the pastors. I'm going to throw you a bone right now. You can easily prove by the dates and times that you have gone to get checked in hospitals, and you have seen a serious condition, whether it's a situation with your heart, whether it's a situation with your brain, neurological issues, stress, seizures. When you're going to the hospital, certain times with these conditions, it is a fact that within a 1 to 3 week period, almost all of these cases, the vast majority of these pastors and elders going to the hospital having problems, it's within a 1 to 3 week time frame where the bishop is on his way to their city. Where the bishop is on his way to their city. And when you can prove with medical documentation that each time, over a period of time, that the bishop is coming to my city, I'm getting sick, or I'm having a condition, or I'm having to run to the hospital because of anxiety issues, stress issues, panic attacks, heart attacks, strokes, seizures, and anxiety. Those are reasons people get lawyers, because the stress is being induced by a burden of expectations that's being put on the pastors and the elders of this organization to perform by pushing the members to get money out of their pocket. So whenever we see in our organization free will anything, that too becomes a lie. And it's easy to prove. So with that said, yes, I'm still unfortunately working on not feeling what I feel whenever I say that word. So I don't have a whole lot to let go of. There's so many negative feelings because I know, and Mr. Cunningham knows that I know for a fact that he's lying. The council knows that I know for a fact that they're lying. They all know that I know for a fact that they're manipulating the people, deceiving the people, and setting the people up. They know that what I'm telling you is all the truth. And this is why not one of them has done anything whatsoever to stop these videos. That's why I refer to Mr. Wesley Harris, his comments, to show people that they know what they're doing. And this is why I challenge them. They're not going to do anything, but that's okay. They also don't think anything is going to come from what we're doing. So just sit back, sit tight, and stand by, because we're going to wrap all of this up. Next.
So the same gentleman, Mr. Johnson, asked, what did Jesus Christ say about this? Calling on Addie.
Matthew 23:9, he said to call no man father on earth. Call no man father.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever they're in a revival, the problem is it's a false doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
And so false doctrines are going to give lies. False doctrines are going to give you doctrine, like the word says, it's tradition. It's things that they're saying to tell you what to do to cater to them and their needs and their wants. It has nothing whatsoever to do with soul salvation, right? And we used to defend all of this.
Mm-hmm.
We used to try to explain to people why we do what we do. Well, you know, the words say, don't say that.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't say that. So you have to twist it in order to sell it. The problem is today, people are not buying this anymore.
Mm-mm.
And the ones in there right now, for the most part, our members know for a fact that they're being lied to.
Mm-hmm.
They know it. They know it. And you can't keep up this facade anymore. So we're really doing the entire organization a favor, because the people who have been a part of that after party scenario, they're just dumping money now at this point into the organization. But all of that doesn't matter, because the court going to order restitutions. Watch what I tell you. So again, just stand by, be present for the next meeting, and see where this goes.
Oh, somebody just retracted their question that I was going to ask. The next one said, this is Jamal. Jamal said, which Addie did they call on tarrying, like while tarrying?
Oh, any of them, whoever's in the seat, and they tell the members to just call Addie until you feel something. And this is why some people believe that they're calling on the Spirit. Well, that's not the word either. Nowhere in the word will you ever see anybody call the Spirit of God their Father. Nowhere. And nowhere do you see that teaching being given to the people to do that. So there's nothing whatsoever that we have or ever had, anybody ever had, that you can defend biblically about this teaching, which is a false doctrine. And if you're looking at false doctrine, well, then you're looking at false teachers and you're looking at false leaders. And that's what it is. People don't want to say it, but these men are liars. That's what they are. And when we call, things as it is, then, you can live better. Your conscience will be at ease. But they're liars and criminals and crooks, starting from the beginning. When you have women today at this age telling people that the founder did things to them that include words that we can't use, and there's children all over the organization and not in the organization. When you have people today saying that other leaders also did things to them, and there's people around the organization that look like them, we have listen, people. There are people that have pictures of these excursions. Now, y'all can sit there and lie to yourselves all day long and say that this stuff did not happen. But instead of us trying to defend liars, criminals, and perpetrators who took advantage of little tiny girls, Think about what you would feel and how you would respond to that if it happened to you or your children. We shouldn't have to go that far for us to determine within ourselves, you know what? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not down with that. We don't do that. And this is, listen, this is over. It is over. Even the maids, now that we understand that this is linked to slavery, this is over. There's nothing good about it. It was sold and branded as a lie to deceive people. That's all it is. You're talking about forced child labor. And that crossed into a dark world that people do not want to admit. But a lot of people know that that was going on. And you got people waiting to line up so that they can tell their story when things are going to happen as a result of it. And there's others who are bold enough to come forward, and we're waiting on them. I'm not pushing anybody to talk about those things. They've been through enough. We are certainly not going to put and induce any more discomfort or trauma or try to churn anything up at all for these individuals who've had years of carrying this burden and this weight on them. So we wait for the opportunity for their sunrise, for the light to shine on them where they can receive the warmth thereof and understand that now they've been blessed to use this horrific event to help bless others, as well as receive justice as a result of coming forward with it. And justice is coming. The word tells us what a man sows, that shall he also reap. And individuals who passed on, they didn't get away with anything. Oh, it's worse on the other side. It's better to deal with it here. Anyway, there's been people who have had dreams about these past leaders and where they are today. There's people who have had visions of these past leaders. And many people have visions and dreams about the current leader. And they're seeing a whole lot of stuff taking place with the current leader and men around them dealing with devils and demons and evil spirits. They know, and we've been trying to extend the help to pull people back into a position where they can obtain grace and mercy. So it's not our job to determine what's going to happen to anybody at any given time. But we do have the right and we do have the authority to bring things to a stop here. And so we're going to do what we can do while hoping that we do everything we can to keep people united. Because the opposite side is doing everything they can to anger people and try to stir up division. And we're not thinking about that. That doesn't faze us. So at any rate, next question.
Brandon Lawrence asks, what if you can't be at the meeting, but you are still willing to sign the declaration?
I appreciate that. The declaration will not need to be signed. Boom, mic drop. So what do the members have to do? Nothing. However, since you all are asking about signing, for those who are interested in signing the declaration or having a petition to to go along with the declaration, matter of fact, you can just put it on this video. Yeah, we can just put it on this video. Put on the comments.
Can I say something?
Yes.
The the live comments don't post.
They don't post. But we see them.
We see them here, but once this goes off, it'll show zero comments.
Oh, no, we can, there's a way to pull them up. But my question to you, though, is once the video loads,
Mhm.
are people able to comment on the loaded video?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so we can do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So once this video loads, anybody who's interested in signing a declaration for us to fix these issues within our organization, just go ahead and just put me too in the comments, or I'm ready, or I agree. Better yet, I agree. And whatever you put that gives the indication that you are in favor of the declaration, that will be fine.
On this video or the next one once it goes out?
On this one.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can do the same thing with the, well, on this one. Because once we read it, we're done. Once we read the declaration, we're done. Huh?
They'd be agreeing to something they haven't heard yet.
Well, yeah, but it's not really a need to hear it, because what we're going to be doing is, and what she just said is, you'll be agreeing to something that you haven't heard yet. But what you'll be doing is saying that I don't mind whatever it says. I want to fix this. Okay. So with that in mind, let me just say, if it were me, I would do exactly what it is that y'all are saying. Now, legally, just because you make a comment online, if you haven't heard it, again, we're being transparent. If you haven't heard it, can we use that information against you? No, nobody can use that against you. It's not legally binding. We're not asking you to sign a contract. We're not asking you to sign a petition. But this is just to show the people in favor of a declaration to fix and end the nonsense that's going on in our organization. Now, is it necessary? No, nothing is necessary. No, this is a way that we can fix this without the people having to do a thing. Nothing whatsoever. But for those who want to, will it help us to have a list of names? Yes, absolutely. Saying that I want to fix this. Yes, that would help. Is it necessary? No. Again, being transparent. And what I'm showing you is something that you will never see coming from the leaders of the House of Prayer. You will never see this. They're not going to be transparent. They're not going to be truthful. They're not going to give you information. They're not going to answer your questions. That's why there's no platform. The United House of Prayer for All People has zero, absolutely no platform for the members of the House of Prayer to stand. I'm glad we did this. With that said, tomorrow's Sunday. On tomorrow evening, at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, we're going to have the first online community fellowship. And we'll do that 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Yeah, we're ending our, okay, so 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Yeah, we'll have our first online community fellowship. That's anybody coming, want to come on live or the Zoom, just to hang out, to have conversation. We can continue answering questions. We can talk about issues. We can go over people's different stories, but it's a meeting place for us to talk and encourage as well as motivate one another. So we don't have nothing at all set up in the organization for the members to speak and voice your concerns, to have issues dealt with, to offer suggestions, nothing at all, nothing. And it's absolutely pitiful. It's a shame. So anyway, is there another question?
Yes, Giovanni Johnson asked, my brother, do you want to be the bishop of UHOP?
I did not want to be the bishop. And I say did not because after other people have, this has been something that's come up again and again and again and again and again. I refrained. I stopped attending the House of Prayer. For years, many people all over the organization thought I was going to be the next bishop. People had dreams all over the organization that I was going to be. And I never spoke to it. I never said nothing about it. Nothing at all. And when the council set me up and lied, and then Mr. Bailey also was doing things that I was being humiliated in front of the entire organization, I didn't come out telling people that they're lying. I just simply backed up. That's all I did. I quietly backed up. I didn't quietly leave, though. Mr. Cunningham wants people to leave because he knows if you leave, you can't do anything to fix the organization. I came back after marrying my wife. No, I came back in order to introduce her to the house of prayer. And as she accepted the house of prayer, then I married her. If she didn't accept it, I wouldn't have married her. And that's how devoted I was to the organization, even though I stepped back. And I stepped back because I didn't want to do things. Since people was doing all this stuff to me, it was better for me to just back up, because just like that song, y'all done messed around and took my credential and my letter. Okay, now I'm a brother. I don't have no. Okay, all right. It's gonna be better for me to back up, because So that's what I did. And coming back, we came faithful, dedicated, people over me, pastors, elders doing wrong, pastors covering up for elders doing wrong, chairman's doing wrong. I'm seeing it. I know they're doing wrong. Elders doing stuff, and I'm hearing about it. Had a situation even with one of my own daughters, and I had to go into some serious prayer. I stayed away for another 2 years because I didn't want to do stuff. I didn't want to. And a lot of people, people don't know. My point is this. I ain't think about all of that. Forget that. So now I came back, and we're going to service. Everything is fine, hunky-dory. But I'm still seeing stuff. I don't have nothing to do with it. I'm a brother. Okay? Brother. But when I see all this stuff going on, and I'm whispering, I'm pointing stuff out, and I see elders still not doing nothing, chairman's not doing nothing, district chairman's not doing nothing, and they're involved. I know a lot about the stuff that they're doing behind closed doors. I'm not saying anything. I'm not in that position no more. But I see your dirt. I see people getting hurt. It's rubbing me the wrong way. We get elected to go to the General Assembly 3 years in a row. The second year, we saw and we learned that Mr. Bailey, Mr. Cunningham, Mickey Bailey, Miss Bailey, Mr. Cuthbert, a judge in Georgia, and Mr. Jimmy Jones, they were working together, colluding to change the Constitution. And they did it successfully. Mr. Cunningham was a part of this several times before. And we saw this. Then I knew after that, okay, I can't sit on this. We went to the General Assembly again. 3 years, faithful members. I did not have a problem at all. Nothing in the organization until I opened up my mouth to speak out against the wrongdoings from Mr. Cunningham, from the council, and Mr. Bailey. Even stuff in our own house, I wasn't saying anything. We've seen people doing all kinds of stuff. Pastors covering up just because they're giving money. Chairman's covering up just because they're giving money. We've seen, y'all don't even know. So my point is this. It's time. It's way past time. And we haven't been pleasing. I can't even call him our Heavenly Father, because he's not the people's Heavenly Father that's doing and a part of all this stuff and covering it up and in support of it and don't want it to stop, don't want it to change. No, he's not your father. He's not your father. Your father is Satan. Period. But he doesn't have to remain your father. And he's going to be your father until you decide to stand up for what's right and do what's right. Satan is your father. You can call him Addy. So my point is that when it's time to do what's right, when you're sick and tired of hearing about what's going on with these little children. The youngest that I'm aware of, a man who died. He said it haunted him for the rest of his life. He wanted to do stuff because he heard what was going on with an 8-year-old girl. He heard it. It got his attention because of the yelling and the noise with one of the leaders. Anyway. So the question came up many, many times. And I said, that's not what I'm doing this for. But then the question came up from someone, okay, well, if you don't, then who? If nobody is standing up to do anything to fix this, out of every man in the organization, nobody is doing nothing. Well, then who? And who's to say that whoever else gets there, that they're going to do what's right? That person made that argument, and it made sense. And the disgust that I have towards every single one of these men is what I thought about. These men in these leadership positions. And I said, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do it. To make sure that nobody else gets in that seat and take advantage of these people ever again, I'll do it. And this will be no more. Period. Now, I'm not running for anything. I'm not campaigning for anything. I'm not telling nobody to do nothing whatsoever for me. I'm fine. I stopped coming before. I could care less about, I'm fine. I'm content. I have a wonderful life. I'm fine. However, for what's been going on in here and the stuff that I've come into the knowledge of since I started to tell the people that our leader is lying. Our leader is a deceiver. Our leader is a manipulator. Our leader is stealing and cheating the members of this organization, and they've been doing it the whole time. That's what I came into the knowledge of. And when I saw that Mr. Bailey knew what I was getting ready to get up there and say in the General Assembly, that's when he began to work with Mr. Cunningham to keep me off to the side and prevent me from coming up to tell the members. Because they knew right then and there I was going to have this whole thing blasted. And Mr. Cunningham did what was necessary to keep me and my wife out of the next assembly whenever he set that election up to put himself in the seat. So this is why we know he's not going to ever, some of y'all been saying this, he's not going to ever have a meeting with me. So no problem. We'll fix it. And we will use the law to fix it. We have a constitution. So yes, I didn't want it. I still don't necessarily want it. My intent is for all this stuff to be over. All the families and the people that have been hurt, demolished, and crushed by this organization's leadership, while they parade around you wearing all these custom-made suits, it's a slap in your face. And then to have it auctioned off and they sit up there and anyway, yeah, this is where we are. So that's my intent. And again, out of full transparency, telling everybody now, if that were to happen, I'm telling you now, what's going on in this organization? No, that's not going to be no more. It's not going to be any more. So anyway, is there any other questions?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Hill asks, how can we get a copy of the Constitution, especially if we no longer attend?
There's already a copy of the Constitution in the videos that we've listed. So go to our channel page, click on our name, go to our channel page, go to videos and scroll down. You'll find one of the videos has a link in the comment section. You just have to read this, the description. It's a little bit of work, but it's not a lot of work. We now have, I think it's 310 videos on this YouTube channel.
And if anybody knows which videos those are, because they know the videos, maybe they could let us know so we could post that.
Yeah, post it in the comments. For those of you who know which video it is, I'm I didn't do a good job of logging and detailing this. I just wanted to put information out. That's all. So how can the people help? Was a question earlier. So this is a way that the people can help. For those of you who can go through the video, write a description of every video. If you decide to do one, and then put them also in this and on this video's comments.
Especially if they have where you've done recording, had them listen to recordings.
Good.
That's one of the things that people are often asking. Which video, when did he say this and when did he say that, with the recordings from the current and past bishops.
Good suggestion. Especially if there's recordings of the past or the current leaders of the House of Prayer that I've included in those videos. Put a detailed, and it might take you maybe 10 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes to write out a description of a video. And if this all of you included, if you see in the comments, videos that only go up to 3, 4, 5, then go to video number 10 and put in the comments, I'm putting the details or a description for video number 10. I'll post it when I'm done so that everybody knows, okay, you're making a description for number 10. That's how the people can help with this. So it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work involved in just making them and putting the information together. So that would be a huge help. I hope that answered your question in regards to also anything pertaining to me or a bishop's title. Are there any other questions?
Yes. Giovanni Johnson asked, who did you get your letter under?
I became an elder in 1988 under Mr. McCullough. I became a pastor under Mr. Madison. And I got my credential as a pastor under him, under Mr. Madison, which is incidentally why the council set me up and lied to Mr. Bailey, because as a credential holder, remember, they have now fixed the Constitution that if you're an elder with a credential, you have to come to the General Assembly. But the Constitution did not say that before. Every elder of the organization was supposed to be in the General Assembly. And these are more violations that Mr. Cunningham and Mr. Bailey have committed. Today is Mr. Jimmy Jones, because they did not hold the elders accountable for coming to the General Assembly. And they did it intentionally so that the council can have more leverage over the General Assembly and mislead it and direct it to go the way that they want it to go. So when you have more elders, then people can even vote on elders other than the general councilman. So they do things to keep other people from being nominated to be elected that could possibly take their seats. But with this whole thing, the members don't have to worry about this stuff coming up, going forward. They've been a part of all of this nonsense. So it's now time to end it all. And so we'll be making the progress necessary to do just that. But right now, people all over the organization, they're fed up. They're beyond it. Even when Mr. Cunningham went to Charlotte Mission, several people said, I'm not going. No, it's just money, money, money. All you're going to do is hear band music, hear choirs, sing songs about Addie. He's going to say some words to try to excite you about who he is. And it's all a lie. So people say, I'm just past it. I know family members of pastors who are not even participating no more. Pastors are upset, especially after what happened in Virginia. Greensboro, they see I'm there in Virginia, and he quiet, not a word, not a peep. But in the services, he yelling and screaming about Lewis, Lewis, Lewis. YouTube, you. But there, when I'm there, after he said I was a coward, now I'm there. and nothing? You're the leader. And you sat there like a little boy in elementary school, said nothing, did nothing. And the people saw that. So it really looks bad. It really, really, really looks bad. And now that we know about these maids, to continue using maids in the organization is going to look even worse now. But our whole aim is to bring all this stuff to an end, to stop it. And there's many people now standing up, rising up to say same thing, enough is enough. And for those who are still, feeling some type of way, well, I don't want, it's 360 videos later. What do you think is going to happen to you?
Right.
What are we afraid of? If we believe the word, then you believe the word. What do you need to be afraid of? Nothing. They're the ones afraid. They're running away from one man and his son and his wife. What else do you need to see? They're not saying a word. They're not taking us to court. What else do you need to see? For the people who still believe in this, okay. But like he said, this is not going to be much longer. Well, that's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy as well. Because he applied that to the channel. Mm-hmm. But we're 360, 42, I think, on Rumble, 310 here. Mm-hmm. So we're right around 350 or 360. Mm-hmm. Okay. He said that you don't go to YouTube for salvation. Somebody said, well, maybe he should, because this has been promoting the truth, and anybody can challenge it. Anybody can question it. Anybody can ask anything. We're not here to force anybody to do anything. You can't argue with people and tell them to accept what you're saying. If you don't believe it, if you don't receive it, if you don't accept it, then there's the door. You can't do that. I'm not kicking people off the channel because they have a disagreement. I'm not kicking people off the channel because they have a question. They don't accept what it is we're saying or believe it. Only if you are disrespectful and you come on with an attitude towards people to offend and disrespect. But has there been some people who have made comments that might appear to be out of anger? Yeah, of course. But where have they been allowed to vent in this organization? Who have they been allowed to go to in this organization? And the leadership of this organization have cost a lot of these people their loved ones and their lives, their family members' lives, their children. So, and money. So let's not give a pass to these people while they're sitting there doing everything, living a lavish life off of the backs of poor people. Mm-mm. So anyway, I don't want to rant. So is there any other questions?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Frankie House asked, I know that this is off topic, but will you be talking about the Masons in the UHOP?
I think we'll do another, Mr. Killingsworth and Mr. Perry. We did a video and I let them take that and run with it. They talked about it loosely because they can see that there's a lot of things going on that might not be quite genuine. So for me, I don't have a lot of information about that particular subject because I'm not one. I just know for me personally, every time I talk about it, I do have a problem with people saying that, you know, they're the higher power on earth or they're a representative of the Most High, but yet they're doing things behind closed doors that people don't know about of the organization. What you do is your business as long as you keep it your business. But when you bring your business and personal affiliations and involve those things onto, when you project those things onto me and you make it a part of my spiritual service to the Most High, now we have a problem. Because being a part of that affiliation, you're not saying that that is because of any religious teachings. You're not saying that, well, I'm that because the scripture teaches us that we need to be that. That's something that you choose to do of your own fruition. And if that's the case, more power to you. I'm just not with it. If I'm not led to do it, I'm not doing it. I don't know anything about it. I've heard a lot, but a lot of the men who are part of it, I've seen. You're telling me that you were taught things that make you a better man, right? Or a person of greater understanding or higher learning. But the lifestyles and the way that a lot of them walk is questionable. So I don't say anything about it, but I question a lot of things. And this is what the word teaches against. Because when you claim to be a child of, again, let's just the Most High, right? Well, then people are going to be looking at you as an example, how to walk. And if you're not walking it and they see you as a hypocrite, well, then now you can hinder them from wanting to have anything to do with the Most High, right? So there's terminology when people say God, or people say Jesus, or when people say the Lord, or a lot of this term I say from time to time, we have to learn how to approach one another because the wicked want to use things to divide. So when it comes to the Creator, right, and the Messiah, that makes things neutral. But when you say that you're projecting anything onto me and you're not telling me about it, you're not teaching me about it, but you're tricking me and deceiving me into doing something that I don't know anything about, well, now I have to, no choice. I have to see you as a fraud. Because you're saying that you're a part of something where you're not in charge of it. Other people are. And other people are in charge of you. And you have to listen to other people. And you're subjected to other people. Well, I don't know of any person in the scripture who he sent, but you're subjecting yourself to them because of an affiliation, because of a fraternity. That is a red flag for me. So I will turn it over to Mr. Kill or Mr. Perry. Both of them are online as well. And again, we can talk about this too, if they're on, when we come back for our fellowship. The fellowship, we can talk about anything. For the members who need an outlet to hear motivation or encouraging words, that's what it's for us to share and hobnob and talk to one another about the house of prayer, about real world events, about how to apply the applications of the scripture, anything. Anybody else?
Yes. Lifelong asks, when you buy, I'm sorry, when you pay for a ticket for the bus, but you're staying overnight, does that cover your hotel room?
The bus, the house of prayer, no. Whenever you pay for a seat, you don't get a ticket for the buses in the house of prayer. They just take your name, they write it down on a pad, and they'll call your name out for you to load up at that time before they're going to pull off. But you don't get a ticket. Whenever you ride a bus, you're paying for that seat to and from your destination, and that's it. If you want to stay over, then you have the option of getting a hotel. I will never, ever, ever, ever go through the House of Prayer Hotel Coalition. Never. That's another scam. The House of Prayer has been, the leadership of the House of Prayer has been scamming people from the beginning. they create scams and they sell it to the people as something that they're doing for them. So here was another one, the Hotel Coalition. The people who take care of the rooms, getting rooms for members of the organization, you're not getting a discount. And sometimes those rates are inflated because the leader of the organization, he gets points for every dollar that every member spends on those hotel rooms coming through the Hotel Coalition. And that's why they push it. They're pushing that program for him. And with those points, they load all those points onto his own personal card that he uses as discounts when he travels around the country. He'll use those points for rewards to go on a cruise or go here, go there. He's using the members for everything, and so is Dolores Madison, Mrs. Madison. And some of the people around them who's involved in this. They're exploiting the members left and right. So I never would use the coalition, because even when I didn't know what they're doing with it, I just saw their rates were so high. Why would I go through them? Why in the world would I go through a coalition when I can get my own room, and my rooms are going to be $50 to $100, maybe $150, $200 less than what I'm getting at coalition. And then many times it's far better than what the coalition has. There's some hotels that won't even allow the House of Prayer members to rent rooms from them. If you go there in the name of the House of Prayer, using that name, they will refuse service. So anyway, yes, you're only paying for your seat there and back. And then they're going to ask you to take up a collection for the bishop for a love gift. So they're going to pressure you for that, and just going to go on for another 30 minutes or so, maybe even an hour. Then they're going to ask you for another collection for the bus driver. It's the members get taken left and right. Another question?
Yes. Peace Abad asks, I believe it states in the Constitution that once you give funds to the HOP, you extinguish your rights to the funds and how they are used. Was this illegal for them to put in?
No, they can really put anything in there as long as the people agree, as long as they consent. But it's not so much money. I think the exact terminology is property. And that's located at the back of the Constitution. So article number 15, before you get there, it talks about donors and contributors to the church. But before you get there, in article 11, is property of the church and or organization. Property purchased by any minister or other persons belonging to this organization for the purpose of assembly of a congregation of this organization shall belong to this organization, irrespective of in whose name title thereto is taken. If I went and bought a building and I'm using it for services of the House of Prayer, then what this says is that the leader of the House of Prayer gets to take my property because I used it for the purposes of assembling a congregation. They get to take my property. This is just one more thing that I'm sure the people didn't put this in here. It's just you're dealing with crooks and thieves. This is just thievery. They're saying that if you bought it to use for the House of Prayer, well, then we get to keep it. We get to claim it. This is the anyway. Section 2, any person or members of said congregations separating from this organization shall have no power or right to take with them any property belonging to this organization. So you're claiming my property, and then if I leave, you're saying I can't take it, giving the pastor the right to call the police and have a problem with me. And I know of cases that have happened just like this. I know of band members and other members who have had property that belonged to them that they had it sitting at the house of prayer because they're using it to uplift the services, right? They don't understand the corruption that's in here. And they're using it to do whatever they can for the house of prayer. They're helping the house of prayer. But then if there's a problem, whatever, you know what, I'm out. And I'll call back when I'm back there, maybe 2 weeks from now, I'm going to come pick up my stuff. No, this ain't your stuff. This is the house of prayer stuff. See, it's stuff like this. All of this stuff needs to stop. And it will. We'll be fixing it. Since the leaders are not taking any opportunity to fix it, we'll fix it. I hope that answered your question. Next question.
Next question. Dwayne Wilson. Mr. Wilson has gone to glory. I wish he got a chance to see more. What will the organization do for all people like him since the bishop won't do nothing?
It's a very good question. I did not talk about Elder Wilson's passing on purpose. I did not want to make that a political issue. I did not want to make that a channel issue. I didn't want to make that an issue pertaining to what we're doing to fix the corruption in the house of prayer. I especially did not want to make it an issue because that issue, his condition, became highlighted in Virginia when I had talked about a video where Mr. Cunningham said that he was sent by Jesus to loose the people, and anybody needing to be loose come up to the front, come to the mountain. And then he had them go down on their knees, like give the impression that he's going to do something, but he does nothing. And many people have been sick in his company, in his presence, and he's done nothing. Nothing's been done by him. Nothing's been done by the bulk of these men to help. There's been a handful of cases, and even then to answer the question, and we give our condolences and still prayers on behalf of our brother and our friend, as well as to Brother Dwayne Wilson and his family, and anybody else for that matter that has lost a loved one recently across the world. We don't want to separate anybody and offer any prayers and condolences of them just because we know them. There's other people also suffering loss and grieving as well. So condolences from the channel and from the community on our channel. But in situations like this, the family won't have to do anything in the event that things go the way that we're hoping that they will go. And there's very, very good chances that they will. But the organization will take care of certain things. When it comes to anybody who's in a situation where they have dealt with loss and they've served in a position like Mr. Wilson, well, the family shouldn't have to do anything. The organization is very, very well equipped to take care of all of the funeral arrangements as well as the expenses. And it shouldn't be anything that equates to a pine box. They should go all out because they went all out, right? And when you look at these people giving to the organization, Mr. Wilson was a part of the house of prayer since he was a child. And we're talking about all these years later, and the organization can't take care of his homegoing, his funeral expenses, even to send a donation to his family to at least share in the fact that the organization has received a great loss, to say thank you for the services of your husband, of your father. And we just want to show our appreciation to what he's done. We know that this is going to be a difficult time. So here is something from the organization just for you to take care of any other expenses that you might need to take care of. The organization is very well equipped to do that. And if we can get an insurance policy set up for the members, it would be better to do that as well, so that the organization to take care of a premium, so that all of those expenses no longer come out of the pockets of the members. Is nothing for the organization to do that, nothing whatsoever. And then when the members are lost, then now you have insurance companies to take care of all of that. What's keeping the organization from having $100,000 policy on all of its pastors?
And that's not even that expensive.
Nothing. No, not at all. There's nothing whatsoever. And when they pass, the family, here's $100,000 to cover expenses, and the balance is yours. It's nothing to do that. It's nothing. So to answer your question, that's same thing, not just being a pastor, but all of the members. If a pastor, 100,000 policy, if you're just a member, what about a $50,000 policy for being members? The pastor has a greater responsibility, but again, the members shouldn't have to deal with those types of issues, is my point, especially when the organization is taking so much money from the people. Nothing at all. And it's not right for the organization to be charging people any rent, because how much rent is any of the bishops paying? Mr. Cunningham not paying rent. He's living off of the backs of these members. He ain't paying a dime for these properties, even the car. He'll say that he bought the car out of his pocket, but that too is a lie. There's no evidence to support that he took anything out of his pocket to pay for that, because it's written within the books of the laws of the house of prayer that they must provide transportation for the bishop. There's just nothing that says how much money they get to spend for the transportation. So yeah, if the organization is getting it, okay, so $100,000 for a vehicle for the bishop, not $5 million for a fleet of cars. That's not the same thing. And this is where personal benefit comes in and crosses the line. That's how the government keeps them reeled in. No, you can't justify $5 million worth of vehicles for you and your wife to ride around in the organization. You needed $5 million worth of vehicles. So it's easy to track when you've broken the law. But when they say, well, I paid for this out of my money, well, that's a problem too, because your money came out of the people's pocket. And even that is a way of fraud, because the people didn't compensate you. The people never had a decision made to compensate you. You're saying that every time you go around, you get to collect in the form of a love offering, love march. So again, these things coming to an end. To break the backs of the members and to just take as much as they can while the leaders get filthy rich, and you come and still got your hand out. It is the greatest disrespect and dishonor. It's sad. It really is. So for the members who are in this type of indoctrination, not just here in the House of Prayer, but all around the world, there's a need for people to speak up, rise up, and then fix that so that people can stop being taken advantage of that way. Next question.
Dwayne Wilson asked, will all that are guilty spend time in jail for their wrongdoing?
The organization doesn't have any authority to put anybody in jail, but the organization and its members does have a right to file claims. So anybody, even if the organization as a whole does not file a claim, anybody right now can file a claim. People file claims against Microsoft, AT&T, all kinds, McDonald's, because of little things. Somebody won a multi-million-dollar suit because their coffee was too hot from McDonald's. They spilled it while driving and it burnt them a little bit, but it shouldn't have been that hot. The point that I'm making is, no, we're not sue happy. But when you have people that are intentionally and willfully taking advantage of others to line their pockets, then no, you need to go to court and somebody needs to hold you accountable. So I'm just saying that we don't have the authority to do anything except remove them. We can file for different things after we remove them, but that does not guarantee the outcome is going to be jail or prison. That's in the hands of the authorities. So I hope that answered your question. Next question.
Joshua Edwards asks, is Joe going to be giving the word tomorrow night and any golden text that he needs to know? LOL.
No. I did intend to, however, come back with part 2 of a lesson in rebuking or learning to rebuke with love. That's what it was. Thank you. Learning to rebuke with love. I did want to do a part 2 with that. So we didn't finish that. We got to finish that. It's going to be the way that it's been given. We need to learn that. And we also need to learn not just to rebuke everybody with love. Sometimes you need to rebuke with scorn. And we're going to talk about the difference and why we need to learn to do both. This is rebuke. When we're rebuking the actions of our leaders, we're rebuking with love at times. But at times you've seen me rebuke with scorn because they know better. And you don't rebuke with love when somebody knows better and they're intentionally defrauding and stealing. And see, when you're compounding things with sin on top of sin to take from other people, oh, no. You don't get rebuked with love. No, you get rebuked. Okay? And somebody needs to and it's better that it comes from your brother than from our Father. And the hope in rebuking someone is to gain them. So again, I hope to finish that tomorrow. But yeah, thanks, Josh. No golden text that I'm aware of. Anyone else?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Lifelong asks, doesn't the bishop send the family a letter on behalf of the deceased?
No, not that I'm aware of. I don't know of anything that the leaders have done that's a part of any program. I know that they've done things for individuals, but most of the time they're only doing things for people who do things for them. We have leaders in the house of prayer that literally they carry grudges, quite frankly. And in my honest and humble opinion, and I'm going to say this, I hope it's not taken out of context. If it is taken out of context, and I mean, I really don't care, because I'm just sharing that to me personally, we have had leaders that act like children. Mm-hmm. Period. They act like children. And how are you telling me that you're representing what? Not when you act like a child. If you say this, then I got to come back at you. You don't like something that I did. You don't like a decision and you speak against it. Well, then I'm going to ban you or talk about you. And if you happen to lose your life in an accident, no, they can't be funeralized here in the organization. Or I'm not going to allow your family members to come to your funeral and do anything. I mean, this is just complete and utter control. And it's literally like children holding grudges. So no, I don't know of anything that the bishop does for people at all. I mean, he didn't even go and visit him. While he was in Virginia, he did not visit him. And then to send somebody to tell him, I'm making you an apostle. What is that? What in the world? It's so, I understand people's anger and their frustration and aggravation. So no, we're not trying to calm people. We're giving people a platform to vent and to talk through their issues so that we can help people to deal with those issues and their hurt and the pain as a result of dealing with these narcissists and these people who have been robbing you left and right while getting away with it because they got somebody at the top paying people money to hide your stuff behind closed doors. No, the hope is that all that stops. And if it's not within our Father's will to stop it, well, then we've done everything we could. And it's still okay because that's his will. But at that point, when we find out, then we'll decide from there what we're going to do to go forward. Any other questions?
That is all I see.
Okay, dope. Well, listen, thank you, everyone and all. There's none on Zoom.
No.
Thank you, everyone and all. It is a joy and a complete pleasure. We hope that you've enjoyed what we covered tonight. Again, whenever we come on, my intent is to have 2 hours. And then, if anything, go maybe a half an hour longer. I appreciate those of you who stayed to listen in and ask the questions that you asked. Again, tomorrow evening, what did I say? 8 o'clock. We'll come back. So next Saturday at 6, tomorrow at 8, every Sunday, we'll do that at 8 o'clock. We'll come on and we'll probably cut off no later than, I'll say 9:30 to 10. So each Sunday. And it's just for anybody who wants to come on. If there's 5 of us, then we'll enjoy. If no one, then no problem. But it'll be open and available. And we'll see how this goes over the next few weeks. With that said, everybody, thank you again for your time. And for those of you who can make it, we'll see you on tomorrow evening. For those of you who cannot, then we'll see you, Lord willing, next Saturday. If you can't make it then we hope that you take care. Yes, ma'am.
And if anybody is wanting to actually be able to speak and converse, they would have to get on Zoom. Just a reminder.
Oh, anybody that would like to talk, you'd have to get on Zoom so that you can actually use your mic to talk. And let me say this too. Anybody who's still skittish and nervous about whatever, don't be. As we go forward, what's coming is all these people will be cleared out. You ain't got nothing to worry about with these people. Nothing whatsoever. Just like we ain't worrying about these folk. Nothing. And the people who are still in the house of prayer, then they'll get it down the line when they get it. If they don't get it today, okay, no big deal. They'll get it down the line. They're going to get the same help that we're trying to help everybody else get, because they've been lied to just like we were. And if their eyes are not open today, no big deal. It'll be open tomorrow. Either way, they'll be there getting the same benefit because they're stealing from them too. And the worst part is they're still stealing from them. They're still manipulating them. Some of us, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, grandparents, all of still there, friends. So this is the love that we have towards them. And we hope that these things are dealt with speedily over the next few days. So we have 1 week and we're going to come on just to hear the declaration, and we'll open up the floor for questions after that. So that said, enjoy your evening. Have a good one, everyone. And for those who can make it, we'll see you on tomorrow night.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.
We got to start remembering. Are you off?